This is the weirdest brand new vehicle that Wargaming have brought in forever, to be honest with you. And of course, this is the brand new Halloween Monster Hunter tank that we have available for us, which, yeah, it's, how do we say, very, very weird. And essentially it is the Roswell XM66F, which is a tier 8 American tank destroyer that plays very much like a Vipera, where it has super strong turret armor in quotation marks, and although it basically gets penned by a lot of people firing premium, it can sometimes work, sometimes it doesn't. And of course it then has your standard hull armor that isn't particularly that great, but what it does offer is 400 damage per shell. It has really, really good penetration on its premium rounds. It gets decent view range, it gets decent still concealment, and in the way that we've set it up, yeah, it's quite nice indeed. So let's jump into how we've set it up, because this is probably something that you want to see, and exactly what statistics this impacts and how we can manage to get our way to this point in the statistics page. So we went with advanced loader for the increased damage per minute, we went with advanced optics for increased view range, and then we went with improved ventilation for the increases to general performance of the tank. Now there could be a potential to use some of the speed boost equipment, such as the traction system or advanced powertrain, because at the end of the day this is a turbo mode tank destroyer. Yes, a turbo mode tank destroyer, and it's really, really good when you use that mode. So yeah, you'll see it in a couple of the games. It's really good for relocating, and yeah, we just basically wanted to make sure that the rest of the tank was nice, since the mobility isn't too much of an issue. Maybe you just want to increase it that little bit extra by a couple of kilometers an hour. But that's up to you. That's how we've ran the tank in the games that you're going to be seeing, and we've got a few games indeed. We've got 3,300 damage per minute, which is very good for a tier 8 tank destroyer. It's, you know, it's nothing outrageous, but it's also nice because we have 400 alpha damage, which is good. View range allows us to actually outspot quite a few opponents, which is good. But we don't have the best camo because we are huge, and we also have, you know, the fairly okay still concealment, but it's nothing crazy. And then we have 0.27 accuracy on the gun, so it's really, really accurate, obviously when you're using the normal mode, not when you're in turbo mode, because that just ruins your accuracy entirely. Then you have 10 degrees of gun depression, which is fantastic, but one of the biggest limiting factors about this vehicle is the 30 degrees to the left and 32 degrees to the right hand side of using this tank, where you have the turret, which is yeah, how do we say, not particularly too good. And so you're limited quite a lot by the yaw of this vehicle, which means you kind of have to play it as if you were a non-turreted tank almost. Slightly better than that, but at the end of the day it's not that much different from playing a non-turreted tank, and you don't have as good of armor as a non-turreted tank when it comes to that regard, things like the T28, etc. But overall, tank looks pretty decent. Power to weight on the standard is not great, but when you get that boosted up with the turbo mode, it makes it a lot better, and it feels just 10 times better in the game. So I feel like we've covered what this vehicle is all about. Obviously 276 pen on the premium rounds is very nice, 232 on the standard is fine, and so yeah, it just works really, really nicely in the game as it currently stands. So let's jump into the game to see whether or not this thing's actually worth trying out, or whether you should leave it in the depths of your garage. Either way, let's have a look. Our first game then starts off with Hidden Village, and this map is pretty decent, at least for this vehicle. You're seeing we are in the standard mode, reaching about 30 kilometers an hour on this sort of terrain, and obviously I hadn't realized at this point that maybe I should switch to the speed boost mode, and there you go, off to a flying start, reaching over that 30 kilometers an hour pretty easily. And then as we're going up the slope, even hitting 35 to 40, and when you do get on a flat piece of ground, you can quickly increase that speed to about 40 to 45 kilometers an hour, and that makes this tank a lot more usable, which is always good. We want that, because the more usable the tank is, the better you can perform in it generally. Now we're trying to get up here. Unfortunately the Craft Panther is reversing, so we have to wait a little bit, but we get up into this location before we pull around the corner. We decide, yep, let's swap to the standard mode, and then we can go forward deciding how we want to play this thing. Now, I'm deciding at this point it's time to actually push up. There's no point in sitting back waiting for the opponents to take the better positions in the game. We want to make sure to punish them if we can. We find ourselves a nice little Sturmpanzer there, get a little bit lucky to hit him on the move, but there we go. And then the VKA is right in front of me as the T29 decides to reverse, but we managed to hit him anyway, so not bad. Our teammate then decides that he's completely blind and doesn't want to actually go around us and would rather just stop in front of us, which means that, yeah, we get turned outside on. Luckily no one hits me, otherwise I would have been truly triggered. But, you know, that teammate may or may not do something happy anyway in this game. So either way, we've bounced a little bit around. The first round there from the Barask actually bounces off of me. And then, it's a Mauer Breaker who bounces off of us because he's not aiming properly, actually just coming around. And then I'm trying to get a shot on this guy, but the smoke is just ruining me right now. But we go into the lower plate either way. Side scraping towards this guy, he fires again. And then, let's not talk about that one. And then, of course, the Mauer Breaker is still on a reload, so we can get another one into him anyway. Now, he's probably reloaded at this point, so we don't want to do anything stupid. But if he's going to give us his side because he's turning in to try and get into cover, that's absolutely fine with me. And we get another shot into him, taking him down to a one shot in this game. And then, a little Craft Panther who we managed to get a shot into. The Ragnarok somehow manages to hit me. I was surprised about that. I have no idea how he managed to flick that one onto me. But either way, now we can side scrape out towards him. The tank has decent armor when it comes to this because people can't see the lower plate or the upper plate as we come around that corner, which is good. And now we can try and go after this Barask as we push over here. Hopefully we can get him. There's a lot of teammates behind me, so they should be able to deal with the heavy tank that's behind me. And then we can go after these guys. Finish off the Barask because that's going to be the most dangerous out of them two. And then let's go for this Craft Panther. And apparently the side-on VKP to the entire enemy team, or to the entirety of my team, is a little bit too difficult. They're all aiming at one tank that they can't hit on the other side of the map. But there we go, we get him anyway and picks up 4,100 damage in the process. But we've still got a little bit of work to do in this game, and we've got plenty more damage that we could get if we don't get unlucky. And yeah, with 4,100 damage done, not a bad one. And we also blocked 2,100 damage as well. A little bit of a poorly aimed shot there by myself. Could have aimed just slightly to the right and it would have been fine, but the next one connects quite easily and we managed to track the guy. No one hits him unfortunately, but that's what it is. And then we go for another poorly aimed shot there, managing to miss again, which is always fantastic. Could have been on a lot more damage so far, but maybe we'll be able to hit this guy. He ends up getting stuck, but we only track him because he just turned to go directly away from me. But I'm going to go for the blind fire anyway here. And yeah, we don't manage to hit him with that one, but maybe we can get another shot onto the KV3 here since he is out in the way. Can we get the shot? Bit of an annoying one, and then of course it hits the teammate in the back of the turret. Not getting lucky in this one at all. Some pretty shoddy aim by myself, but we still picked up 5,000 damage, which isn't bad for a tank like this with, yeah, pretty decent DPM. But of course, not having the most outrageous armor, but very, very usable armor. So, yeah, it feels really nice to have played this game and just generally had a good one nonetheless. But of course, let me know what you guys are actually thinking about this tank. I actually think it's a really cool little design. I think it's actually fairly well balanced. There's a lot of things that are good about it, but there are also quite a few things bad about it. The yaw limit definitely helps that, and I don't think that they will remove that. To be honest with you, if they did that, this tank would become amazing, like insanely good. So I think as it currently stands, this tank is absolutely fine. I don't think they need to change anything about it. But we come our way with a victory with 5,115 damage, 1,940 base XP. So really, really high base XP game. and maybe we can actually pull off a mastery badge here. But 262,000 silver earned, because of course it's a premium tank and you earn extra silver, and we had a ×2 silver boost. But no, we didn't even get a 95% badge for getting 1940 base experience, showing you that this tank is played quite well and probably quite strong in the hands of people like me who have played way too much of this game. But yeah, let me know what you guys actually think about this tank. But let's jump into the next one before we end up this video. And so this next one is on Lakeville. We're going to take a very aggressive start to this game, since I wanted to test out how the speed boost actually works in the vehicle, whether it's actually usable, and also, you know, let's have an interesting game, because we typically do the exact same thing. And so I'm going to try and go a bit faster on this one to try and outspot some opponents, test out the view range, see if we can remain undetected, test out the armor model to see whether or not it actually stacks up, because of course it really depends on the matchup that you're in. Tier 10s will go through the turret of this thing, which kind of sucks considering how big it is, but there we go. We realised we weren't in the speed boost mode, but now we are. I believe Wargaming have some weird notation for which mode you're in, because it looks like it shows us in the actual sniper mode, but we're actually in the speed boost mode. Don't quite know what's going on there, but maybe it's telling you that you're going to swap to the other mode. I don't know. I think it would make more sense to tell you which one you're actually in. The enemy artillery, being artillery, is of course going for the person that's furthest forward because they're spotted, and then the Lycan decides to try and escape, but I mean, from that position at this point in the game, it doesn't always work out all too well. But the arty doesn't actually manage to hit me here, and then deciding that I'm going to be brave in this game, I actually do something that you probably shouldn't do, which is push up to this rock here. Now I did this because I wanted to spot the enemy team and get into a bit of a weird position. You can see here the yaw limits can be a bit of a pain, and that's really one problem with playing this tank, is those yaw limits, because it happens to things like this where you're just trying to get an angle on someone and it can make it a little bit more difficult. We try go for a shot into the Roswell there, but we don't manage to pen. The Draugen hits us, and yeah, you can see as soon as the hull armor of this thing is exposed, it just gets peppered. And even when the hull armor isn't exposed, they can still hit you in the top of the turret to deal a ton of damage. We're getting hit in the side here, but we're going for the Draugen here. Push forward a little bit, try and angle to make sure that we don't get hit here. And then of course there's a Cromwell who hopefully we can get a shot into. So we pull out, deal a shot of damage, pull back in, but he hits the back of our tank in the engine deck by the looks of things to actually pen us. So yeah, it was a little bit annoying there, but once again shot directly into him, and then we're in a little bit of a predicament because we are now a one shot to about every tank in the game, which is not fun. But maybe we can get one in the Cromwell. Didn't realise there's a building there. You never know, maybe there wouldn't be, but of course there is, so we don't manage to finish him off. So, but it's worth a try. Anyway, with this point in the game being looking like we're going to win, I mean, it's just a case of waiting a little bit because I can't really push with 96 hit points, so we'll just stay here, see what arises, and if we get taken out by a stray shot from someone, it's fine, but we definitely can't push. We're going to have to wait for some of the teammates to do that before we can make a move, but we've still done 4,200 combined damage, but we're maybe able to push that damage total up a little bit as the game goes on, since the team are going to spot for us and we're going to be able to do something from there. So in terms of going from here, just get behind the rock to my right hand side to cover me from anyone that might be camping in the bushes. We go for a shot on a Cromwell, but of course it goes so low that it goes into the tracks and only tracks the guy, but the Astron Rex is out and about, lying around behind the God, what was going on there? Behind the house. If you're watching at this point, then yeah, I do make some weird ass sentences, I don't even know, but with this being the point in the game where it's basically a guaranteed win, I mean, we're at 9 tanks against 3. If we lost this, I would genuinely uninstall the game. But with the Roswell also on the enemy team not wanting to poke out, I'm not surprised. We aren't able to get any damage on him, but maybe we can get a few shots into the only tank that really has any health, which is that Astron Rex. Now, guaranteed that he was actually there, we're going to go for a little bit bit of a blind fire, and oh, surprise, surprise, he actually is still in the same position that he was, except he'd moved out from that cover, and then he gets spotted again, and we put one more into him, dealing 3,600 damage. He's pulling out side on. Maybe we get another one into him. He tries to come back to do a shot into me, but no. We pick up 5,300 combined damage in this game with an epic victory, and yeah, not a bad result either. 1,566 base experience, again with a very nice result, and picking up 310,000 silver in this one, which was nice. 1,540 assists, 3,850 damage, one enemy taken out, and yeah, 1,300 blocked as well. So this tank can block rounds. It just, when you do expose any of the hull armor and side armor, you can get just basically devastated quite a lot. But hopefully that was an interesting one for you guys to have a look at, and of course, one of the brand new tanks in the game. If you have any questions, let me know in the comment section, or if you're trying a different build in this tank, let me know as well. But other than that, I hope you join me back in tomorrow's video, where we look at the other vehicle or premium vehicle, which is of course the Cold War one and Monster Hunter tank, and then we'll look at some of the other Monster Hunter tanks in the later end of the week, so you guys can see what they're all about, since they'll be coming out and about, and then we'll look at the season pass tanks after that. So thank you very much for watching. Hopefully you'll see me in the next one, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of the day. Goodbye.